my cousins, getting them all lined up. You have a right to identify, self-identify. Well, they identify now as Catawba Saponi. So they all know their heritage. They all know where they came from. I had to do the work, but I'm glad I did, because all of my people were going by that new term that Jesse Jackson came up with back in 1988, African American. Before that, they was calling themselves Afro-American. You know, Afro is a hairstyle. They was calling us that, a hairstyle, back in the day. They were also, before the Afro-American, I remember when I was young, I used to hear people say Afro-American. And I say, they called us Afro-American and we wearing an Afro? That's got something to do with the hair, right? They said, yeah, but that's our identity. Like, man, that sucks. So before that, it was Negro. It's always been Negro. Colored. Free people are colored. You know, they come up with so many terms, it's ridiculous. I think we the only race of people that they changed their identity to take you away from the land, to confuse you of who you are, so the younger generation wouldn't know. And they had to beat the Indian out of them. You know, the country was trying to claim all these lands and take the states, and they had this rule, you know, our state is free of Indians, so the land is legally theirs. That's what they thought. So anytime a person would say that they were Indian, back in those days, they would hang them, they would kill them, they would run them out of the state, out of the county, in the case of Louisiana, out of the parish. It's so much that went on back in the day. People have no idea. It's a lot of people are learning where they come from now due to YouTube, but we also have a lot of people who never heard this information, ain't looking for it, don't know it's out there. I see people every day, and I ask them, say, hey man, you ever thought about doing your genealogy search? It was a genealogy. No, man, what's that all about? I say, hey, Ancestry.com, $19.95 a month. You can sign up, you can find your people. FamilySearch.com is free, but they're not as good as Ancestry.com, because Ancestry.com gives you hints. We give you leads to other people that may be in your family, of distant relatives who looking for the same people, and you know, they found census records. They know names that you may not know, or that your family may not know. You know, a family, you know, it's a large group of people. You know, you got a lot of relatives out there that you don't know about, and so you won't be the only one looking for this information. So when you start digging, information pops up. You just follow your family line. You know, you follow those areas that they lived in, where they migrated to, and it'll lead you. It led me to mine, and I'm currently working on helping my wife find her people. So far, hers was listed with the Chickasaw, but it's my understanding that the Chickasaw is ran by the government, basically. You know, they appointed leaders of these tribes, and a lot of those tribes that have those appointed leaders, they don't want to let us in. So we just have to come together as a group of people, have those documentation, have that record, and then as a collective present that information and say, we are those people, we are here, we have that information, we have the bloodline, and we demanding to be given back our rights and our tribal names. Same thing like the Natchez. The Natchez down the street there, Natchez, Mississippi. Also, they were on the Louisiana side as well. I traced some of my family people to the Tensas, and the Tensas joined in with the Natchez, so they basically were the same people. They lived not too far from each other. They knew each other when slavery was over. a lot of the people that wasn't sent to Haiti, they joined in with the Natchez in downtown Mississippi, Natchez, Mississippi. And a lot of those people were quartered off on the banks of the Mississippi and left there to starve to death. They had them corralled like cattle at gunpoint. They couldn't go anywhere. Some of the people heard about what was going on, and they didn't go into downtown Natchez, so they survived. I have family members who have mentioned that to me, that they didn't go down into downtown Natchez where all the people were gathering at that night, and so they escaped into the countryside. Once they was free, they didn't want to go back to the plantation. They were prisoners of war. Once they were free, they didn't want any part of the plantation. They left, and they survived. They scattered all over North Louisiana, Central Louisiana, South Louisiana. So that information about the Natchez and the people joining in with the Natchez is all online. Then you have oral stories. So it is what it is. But once you start digging, you find a lot of information out there. You find out, like I have, where the court system were basing it back in these Europeans who came over here to help take the property from the people. They came in wanting to work with the indigenous people as squatters on their property. When your parents own land, and they're just things that happen from generation to generation. The older folks die off and they leave the property to the young ones. There was no paper trail. We wasn't dealing in paper back then. So Europeans come here as a squatter, saying, hey, I got seed, you got land, you plant it for me. When it's time for harvest, we'll share the harvest, the proceeds, the profit. And they didn't get their fair share of the money when it was time to sell the product. Europeans say, hey, you came up short. The seed that I supplied you, I didn't get the yield that I wanted out of it, so I'm in the hole, so you owe me. And I'm going to need you to work for me a couple more years, 3, 5 years, to pay off your debt. I'm sure the landowners, who are people, say, no, that ain't right. I can't control nature. So they take them to court. The judge was ruled in the Europeans' favor. Hey, this guy spent money, you didn't produce, you owe him. So, bam, there it is. You got to work for him. A lady had a child out of wedlock. She wasn't married. Someone take her to court who wants her to work for them. There it is. The court give her 5 years for having a child out of wedlock. Small stuff like that. Man walking down the street. Guy say, hey, that's a stocky looking fella there. I think I'd like for him to work for me. Hey, you mind coming to my place working for me? No, sir, I'm fine. I don't think so. Well, I think you're going to be working for me before the week is out. He take the young fella to court. The judge ordered him, hey, you don't have a job, you just walking around. We can use your services. I'm going to give you 3 years. Mr. McCurry's place. You need to work for him. So that's how it went. That was the life and times back in the days. Things have changed nowadays. We ain't putting up with all this mess. We have a lot of people who, the Europeans couldn't have done what they've done as far as taking the land if they didn't have help from our people helping them. And we had a lot of people helping. Today, we still got a lot of people helping. Helping the Europeans run these companies. They can't do it without us. They say they can, but when you go to work, the order of the day is do less work, earn more pay. Take a coffee break when you can. Do as less as you can. But make sure you hold the top position. People of color, they expect you to know everything, and they expect you to do everything. So we still helping them get rich. That's the way it is. No matter what job you work on, you can work on a farm, you can work in a factory, you can work at a plant, You can work in a corporate office, a law firm, a hospital, a nursing home, any job that you can think of. If people of color's working there, they doing the work. They are the backbone of that operation. We all know that because I've seen it. I have been through it. So, and nowadays you see a lot of so-called, they call themselves white, but they're not really white, they're kind of beige. But a lot of them, they trying to step away from these jobs as well. They know how their people treat us, and they know how they treat them. So it's just the order of the day. It's the same. They mistreat them just like they mistreat us. Other races as well. And you know, it's not a color thing because people think it is, but it's not. You got a lot of foreigners come to this country, and they just as brown as we are. They get them upper hand. I had a flat the other day coming to Louisiana on the road, and I had to take the tire to a tire shop to get the tire changed. The guy that's running the business, he was a guy from Pakistan. Real upbeat, happy guy, darker than me, happy to get my business. Brand new building, young fella, like he about 25, 30 years old. Government gave him money to start a business, and he running the operation by himself. Got a nice operation. I don't see our guys doing it. The government's not giving us any money to start a business. Refugee assistance. We refugees in our own land. We don't get assistance from the government, but that's what they give them. Give them money to buy a house, get a vehicle, purchase a business, or build one from the ground up. So they get a more than their share of help. So, but a lot of people don't understand what we go through as indigenous people in this country. It's kind of the same thing that the Australian Aborigines go through. You know, they were there on that land. Europeans went over there. They left England as well. Went over there, took the land. All the jobs, businesses that they run over there, they are all Europeans. You don't see any indigenous people actually running those operations or businesses. They still living out in the outback, away from society, just trying to make it from day to day. So, yeah, that's what it is. So, like I say, find your people, get back to your indigenous ways, grow your own food. You can live, you know, you have land, you can live off the land. Probably one day when I retire, I'll put me a house out here on this land and live off the land. But right now, I'm down in Houston, making money in Houston. So, you know, a lot of people leave the country, leave the little small towns and stuff like that. They go to a large city because larger cities pay more money, and you got to make a living. You don't want to settle for mediocre. You know, you want to be able to travel, enjoy life, the finer things in life. So people move away, but when you got property, you can always come back. It's always home, as long as you pay your property taxes. If you don't pay those property taxes, your land will be up for auction. Somebody else will be owning it. And I've seen a lot of older people lose land that way. Don't want to pay the property taxes, tired, don't have the money. You know, courthouse, they send them letters saying, hey, taxes due. You don't pay it, we're going to sell your property. And they don't have money, and they don't have a family that can help them, or they just don't want to. Like some of the younger people, they just walk away from it. They don't care nothing about it. They ain't had to buy it. It cost them anything. They don't pay the taxes. They put it up for auction. Somebody else end up getting it. I've seen, especially like out here in this countryside, I've seen where the whole community were indigenous people. And I see now that all those areas where they live, it's all European descent. and most of our people is moved to the cities. They don't want to be out in the country. All the folks that's out in the city of European descent, they moving out here in the country. They taking this land, fixing it up, putting them a nice gate, put them a mobile home out there. Probably spend 5 to 7 years in a mobile home. Next thing you know, that same piece of property, that mobile home is gone. You see a nice 2-story home, $300,000 house sitting up on that property. Like, man, they bought that mobile home cheap or used, stayed in there a few years, saved their money, and before you know it, bam, they got a mansion sitting on that property. Then the people that used to own it, they drive by, whoa, look what they did over there. It's nice. Yeah, you could have done the same thing. You had saved your money and put it away, but instead, you know how we like to do it, buy new vehicles, put rims on it, want to show off. The car go down, depreciate in a few years, and then it's old. Your buddy's riding around in a brand new one, all of a sudden you want a new one again. So, you know, money going to vehicles instead of going to a home, going to land that you can always call your own. Yep, that's what we do. That's what we do. I see how when people that's kind of short on their means, I see people go fishing. It may be a minnow that they catch. They keep it. They don't throw it away. You see people of European descent, they go fishing. They throw it all back. The refrigerator at home is full. They ain't got no room for more fish. They do it for sport. Catch and release. Catch a big one, nice sized fish. You like, man, I can eat that. He gonna throw it away. They go out here shooting hogs. You know, wild hogs taste gamey. They are a nuisance. But in town, you got a lot of poor folks. You can take that hog into town, give them the whole hog. They'll know how to clean it. They know how to make a ham out of it, ribs, pork chops, bacon. Oh yeah, they can hook it up. But they'll shoot 20 to 30, leaving it to die. They ain't got no room for it in their fridge. They don't want that. They rather go to the store and buy some steak. I remember when people wouldn't eat garfish. They're like, garfish, that's a scavenger fish. We don't want to eat that. I go to some of these restaurants now. All of a sudden, gar became a delicacy. It's good. Oxtails. Y'all eat oxtails? Ooh, that's gross. Now you go to a restaurant, they got oxtails on the menu. You look around, yeah, our people running the restaurant. But when you look around who's in there, it's all Europeans. They loving it. Stuff that they used to frown about when times got hard, they learned to appreciate it. Yep. When times get hard, things change. Well, I need to make some moves. I got to get up from here, make a couple runs, hit the road in the morning, head back to Houston. So, hope you enjoyed this little chat. I enjoyed talking with you guys, whoever's listening. And I'm not much on words. I'm usually kind of quiet in a way. But it's just some of the things that, yeah, I got a lot of places that I'm traveled and visited, and nice scenery and other side. And you know what, I can film some of these areas, give you guys different views, stuff to look at that you may not have in your area. So, hope you enjoyed it. I'm gonna get out of here. Peace and love. Stephen Rick Clay.